youngish, not a boy, but you know, a little older than a boy. I'm seeing nothing on but like a loincloth type situation.
Very cool.
Yeah, and actually I'm seeing like leather strap, like leather, like string almost, like just kind of like twine, like wrapped around my ankles all the way up to my knees, kind of like. And it's okay. It's interesting because there's not a like a shoe per se, but it's just this strap just goes down around the toes, kind of like, and just comes up the leg, wrapping around the leg up into like the knee area.
Wow. Is there anything on the bottom of it, like to protect your feet, or is it just string?
It just looks like it wraps around the big toe. It's weird. It wraps
Interesting.
around the big toe, and it's not really any kind of protection. Just almost like a decoration, or it
Yeah.
means something, but
Interesting.
not a foot protection. No.
Very, very cool. And do you feel healthy?
Yes.
Okay.
Looking at myself, I feel I have like dark hair, very black hair, kind of longish, kind of wild. I mean, just long and very straight, but just kind of all over the place, not really groomed or anything. Dark, dark complected, and yeah.
And does this look like Earth?
I think so, but I honestly can't tell because I just see the sand and this cave. That's all I'm seeing at this point.
Okay. Is the cave your home? Or are you just kind of hanging out there?
I think I'm just there right now. I don't feel like it's necessarily my home. It's just I'm out there and the cave is there. I don't think there's a connection really.
Okay. Well, is there any more exploring that you would like to do in this scene?
Well, let's see, as I look around, I don't see anybody else. I don't see any other really buildings or structures. So I just, again, seeing if there's anything I want to see. No, I think that's it. That's all I'm showing.
All right. Well, why don't we leave that scene and let's drift and float to another important day in this life. A day when something important is happening, and now you are there.
What I see, kind of a group of people sitting around a campfire. We're sitting outside, and there's a fire, and it's kind of dark. It's getting dark, and we're just all. There's not a whole lot of people. Maybe like 8 or 10, just sitting around the fire.
And do these people feel familiar to you? Like maybe family or kind of your group?
Yeah, I know them. I'm aware of them. I know who they are. They're like a, I want to say like a tribe. I mean, that's the word that's coming to me, is like a tribe.
Yeah.
We're actually not speaking. We're just communicating in other ways. We're not really speaking to each other. I don't see any language or talking. Just being together.
So kind of like a caveman, essentially?
That's what I'm getting. That's
like
what
a prehistoric
yeah,
type
Yeah, that's actually what I'm seeing.
type individual?
That we don't even really speak, but we communicate in a different way.
Cool. Like telepathically or with your hands or...
Well, we have that, and then, but also like even just like grunts and groans. I mean, just like verbal use of our throats or whatever, just to make gestures,
Gestures and tones and
Right.
things that kind of help you to communicate what you're
Mhm.
feeling. And very cool, very interesting, very fun. What else is happening in this scene?
Okay, well, we're just sitting around and we're very peaceful. I think, really we're enjoying the fire. Fire is really I'm feeling that it has a great significance and that it's really important. The fire is very important to us.
Yeah.
And we have, I see, little, like, woman with a little baby, and I see just different varieties of people around the fire.
Yeah. And do any of them seem familiar to you, like from another life?
I don't think that I recognize right now.
Okay.
Yeah, there's nothing hitting me that's really familiar with them.
Okay.
Only in that lifetime. They're familiar to me there.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. What else is important about this day?
Okay, I'm getting a feeling like we're preparing for something.
Okay.
We're sitting around the fire, and it's kind of like a feeling of, not like a ritual, but just something that we know. I want to say like the next day maybe, or something. There's something going to happen, and we're just calmly. It's like we're calmly sitting around the fire. I want to say almost like the calm before the storm type of thing. It's like we're sitting calmly around this fire, knowing what has to be done the next day,
Okay.
and getting prepared for that. Just gearing up for that in our own personal way.
Mm-hmm. Like emotionally and spiritually, kind of.
Right. And we're all connected in this together, and we know that this day comes. And so we're just kind of just meditating on that, really.
Okay. Okay, interesting. Well, why don't you sit with that for another little minute or two and just see if there's anything else important that you need to see in this scene.
Mm-hmm. Well, I see the women some of the women are crying.
Okay.
They're very emotional and sad. And that's just letting, the men are just letting that happen. I mean, they're not doing anything about it. It's just part of what's happening in that scene. That they're just they're just quietly kind of crying.
Mm-hmm. So there must be something big that's going to take place. Maybe some sort of fight or men leaving maybe or something. Who knows?
Yes, it feels that way.
Yeah. Interesting. And then aside from this scene and this day, what do you do with all of your time? Do you know?
Well, I hunt. I protect the village. I just kind of an overseer almost. Like it's a kind of my job to just kind of make sure that everything's okay, that everybody's okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Very good.
Yeah.
And how old are you now? Are you older?
No, I'm about the same age. I mean, again, at that time, I don't know what middle age would be, but what would be considered right above a teenager type of feeling.
Okay. I imagine in
like early 20s, but that's just a feeling of what that would be at that time,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because you
if
have to
people
be
live that
more
long,
mature.
I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Very cool. Kind of a hunter-gatherer type person.
Yeah, doing the hunting, the men did the hunting, and I was very young and fit, so I did a lot of that, and fishing, gathering the food for the village, and also, and it wasn't a big village, it's not a lot of people. I actually see in the village just sparse like tent things almost that are just scattered around where people lived.
Okay, that was my next question. What do the houses look like?
It almost seems like makeshift, like, you know, I want to say teepees, but I don't know if that's exactly what it is, but like a makeshift, like tents like that, where you could, made out of animal skin,
Mm-hmm.
with an opening with leather, but like tied up with, strings of leather that kind of like the leather that's around my feet, kind of thing. It's tied up with that. That's how the flap kind of stays closed. Very rustic. I mean, very, nothing much to it. Just
Yeah, very
dirt floor.
natural.
Yeah, and again, I see a lot of sand around, so it's almost like on sand, which is interesting. So,
Is there vegetation as well? Or is it more...
I don't really see that. I see more of an ocean type, being like kind of like near water.
Okay. And since you're scantily dressed, I'm assuming it's kind of warm?
Yeah, I don't feel cold. I don't feel like it's cold.
Okay. Alright, very cool. Well, why don't we leave that scene and drift and float to another important day in this life, a day when something important is happening, and now you are there.
Okay, well, it's either the next day or soon after that this, that they were sitting around the fire, and that whatever's supposed to be happening is happening. Now, what I'm seeing is that the men are leaving. We're going off to, and I don't know why yet, but we and that's what that was about, was just quietly having that evening together as a tribe, because they knew that the next day or soon after, it was time to take off. The men leave, and I don't know if it's for a hunting expedition to look for food that isn't around, normally at that time, that they have to go out and look for it, or if they're, I also get the impression that they may be like scouting, it may be a scouting expedition, like to go out and find, another place to live or another environment. So I'm not sure if,
Like maybe food is scarce in this one that you're in now.
right, you're right, to just kind of move on, like finding, and maybe it's both. Maybe it's actually doing both, doing the scouting expedition while they're hunting. So kind of get the feeling of both.
Okay. And does it seem common for people to not come back on these types of trips? Is that why the women were crying, or are they just...
I think there's a chance of that. They know that there's always a danger, and there's a chance of not coming back. There's also enemy, I want to say enemy territory that's out there. There are dangerous tribes out there. There's danger that they can come across at any given time. And so they all know that. They're all aware of what the situation is and how that can happen.
Yeah.
So it's a very cautious time, I guess is what I'm feeling. That the women are nervous about their men, and the fact that they have to take care of everything by themselves while they're there. It's kind of stressful for them.
Yeah.
And the babies and the kids, and while the men go off. And the men are also, nervous in their way that they have to fight off whatever they come up against. So, yeah.
Do all of the men leave?
Well, this is weird. It's interesting. I see almost like a chief, like the head master, so to speak, the head of the tribe.
Like
An elder,
Yeah.
elder, and he stays behind. They need to leave one person. What I'm getting is they need to leave one elder and the head behind, because just in case something does happen,
Yeah.
there has to be somebody that stays behind to take care of the women and the children and continue on, so to speak.
Yeah.
So in this situation, it's necessary for them to leave him behind, so he kind of stays behind, but the younger men, the men that are able to go, I mean, the rest of them go. Yeah, there aren't a lot again, like I said, but the rest of them go.
And you'll be going as well?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm in that group.
Okay. All right. Well, why don't you take another minute or two and see what else is important in this scene.
Okay, just see them walking with, we're walking with spears, and not much. I mean, it's not like we don't have any animals or anything, or we don't have much with us. It's just, like handmade spear type things, and actually like like fire. That's why fire is important, I guess, because we have lanterns, like something you carry that has fire with us.
Yeah.
And a shield of some sort. I see some of the men are holding like a made shield for protection of some sort.
Yeah.
It's very, like I said, very sparse. Not very much protection.
Yeah. Well, why don't we just fast forward a little bit and see what becomes of this expedition. See what happens next.
Okay, well, I kind of see like an argument happening between some of the men. They're arguing about something. Kind of like having a disagreement about where to go, which direction to go in. Not agreeing with each other. There's two men in particular that are, and I'm not involved, but I'm watching.
Okay.
And watching them argue about which direction to go in. And they both have their reasons, and they're both very strong about their conviction about which way they want to go. But we have to resolve this. This is something we have to resolve, because we can't split up. We don't want to split up. And so we know that we have to come to some conclusion. And I think what we're going to do is take a vote.
Okay.
Of who agrees more which way to go. Okay, so I don't know why this is important, but we do that. We take this vote, and almost everybody agrees with the one man, the one guy who's was adamant about which way to go. So everybody votes with him, and so the other man is a little disgruntled about, because he also believed he was right, so he's a little disgruntled about the decision, but he's okay with it because he knows that that's how they do things. They vote and they decide, who wants to go where, and everything that happens in their village is basically a vote. And that's how they do it. And again, there's not much communication, so they just have to do this all by, different, not verbally so much. So anyway, so they're all taking off now in that other direction, and going the way that they all voted on.
Very interesting. And what does the scenery look like at this point? Has it changed at all?
Yeah, I'm seeing much more rock. I'm seeing much more like having deal with some like big rocks that you have to climb over, and getting over that, working your way through the rocks.
Yeah.
And it still seems like there's an ocean and water there, but again, coming into these rock formations that they have to kind of work their way through and around.
Yeah, very cool, very interesting. All right, well, why don't we see where this goes?
Mm-hmm. Well, I, as an aside, I see them stopping to rest, for the night to just sleep. It's something they have to do. They've gone far enough for the day, and they're just kind of resting, finding a spot conducive to just sleep. And then of course, they're moving on now from that. I don't know, let's see, they're the man, the guy that just didn't get his way is kind of just not, happy. I mean, everybody, is just going along, and he's kind of staying back. He's kind of like a little angry still.
Yeah.
That they didn't go his direction. But they keep going.
Is it becoming any more clear what the expedition is about?
Well, it almost more now seems like, okay, now it seems like they are out seeking another better place to live, to move the tribe to. Something, I get the idea that they have to go somewhere where it's safer, because they're kind of out in the open right now, and they just started to feel that might not be the safest place to be, so they want to kind of move to a more secluded area where they're not known to be by anybody.
Yeah.
And so, as far as hunting, I think they figure that on their way back, they'll then, once they find the place, then they'll come back to pack up the area, and on the way back they'll do the hunting to bring food back to the village.
That makes sense.
Yeah, so they can have some food when they come back. But right now, their main goal is to just be searching for a good spot, a good place to go, and they don't know. That's why they're kind of the argument, because one guy thought it would be a good place. They each had their own ideas of what would be a good place, but so they're just kind of moving through the areas to just find that perfect place that they feel would be safe.
Yeah. Well, let's keep exploring and see what happens.
Okay, I do see, they see some, in the distance, they see some other, another tribe, maybe, or just more some other people.
Does it feel threatening?
Yeah, they're being very cautious because they don't know. Yeah, they're just not sure, so they're just kind of figuring out what to do. Do they stop, or do they keep going? Okay, now they're looking towards me to make that decision. They want me to make the decision, because I'm kind of like a scout, so they're kind of looking at me to. It's interesting in this tribe. Everything's a vote. Everything is a vote. Everything is like majority rules type of thing. So they're kind of looking at me to make that decision, and then they would vote on it if that felt right to them. So anyway, so they're looking at me to make the choice, and I choose to keep going. I think that we should keep going. So they agree with that. So we just keep going, and we're getting closer and closer then to the other people, and they're just also walking along, and then also, and they're just kind of watching us, and we're watching them. Not sure, filling each other out, but
just keeping an eye.
Yeah, kind of not sure of each other.
Yeah.
Okay, wow, this is weird. So as we get closer, we start being able to have a contact with them, and we're trying to communicate with them. They don't seem really friendly. Um, we're very cautious. We're not sure, but they don't. We're kind of getting a feeling like this might not be a good idea. But the disgruntled guy, starts causing trouble.
Oh, no.
Yeah, he seems to be just being very aggressive towards these guys.
No.
And we're not understanding why he's doing that, because so far everything's okay. I mean, there's no fighting and everybody's still kind of on edge. And he decides that he's going to, whether it's just because he's still mad at us or what, but he just is starting to make trouble, like going up to them. Like I see him walking over to them and being very aggressive and making aggressive gestures to them, that they're starting to get very nervous and they're starting to get afraid. So we as a group, our group is trying to calm him down, and it's not working, so he's just kind of stirring the other group up. And they're, so actually, yeah, a fight starts out. It just starts to become tense. It's getting tenser and tenser, and yeah, they just start fighting. The two groups start fighting.
Goodness sakes.
Yeah, and it's not, yeah, no weapons are being used, but it's just kind of a weird, like, aggression, starting and then defend, like the disgruntled guy was being aggressive, so they started being aggressive towards him, and then to defend him, our group started having to defend him, so, and so it just kind of like escalated into something that it shouldn't have been. It should not have done that. It was not, it didn't seem like it was going to go in that direction, but it started going in that direction very quickly, where there started to just be an out-and-out fight.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Well, let's see what happens.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, well, sadly, it ends up that we end up, from what I see, I don't know, it's weird, but what I see, we end up like killing all of them.
Oh.
Yeah, we end up, it escalates really quickly and really bad, to a really bad point. And we didn't know what else to do. We felt like because we're kind of out in the open. I mean, there wasn't really any protection or anything like that. We were just there face to face, and we didn't mean to. We were peaceful people, but we didn't mean to do that. But we felt like we were pushed against it, so to speak. Like if somebody didn't do that, then we would have been,
targeted.
Yeah, we would have been killed. So it was like who's going to be stronger and who's going to kill first, and we ended up having to be put in that position of killing these guys, this other tribe, to just be safe, to just feel like, and again, the feeling of it is, it wasn't supposed to happen that way. It just escalated quickly, and it ended up happening just that fast. And so, there was maybe 5 of the other guys, and so we just ended up killing them all. And okay, so what I'm getting to is a part of this is just for territorial. It just seems like we like that area, and that's kind of their area. That's where they kind of lived.
Okay.
And so as we were going along, we felt that would be a really good place to move the tribe to. But it's weird that the other group didn't. I mean, they were defending their land, because they saw us coming, and so they were kind of defending their territory, but not too aggressively. And then we didn't mean to kill them for their territory. We just killed them because it led to that, But once they were dead, we buried them. Sadly, buried them because we realized it was just escalated too quickly. So we did bury the bodies, and we were very angry at the guy who started the problem. Mm-hmm. We really had to blame him for putting us in this situation, that we had to do this. So we were very angry with him. In fact, what I'm seeing is, this is sad, I'm seeing him walking away, like from the tribe. It's very sad. He's leaving. It's going to make me cry now because he's being shunned from the tribe because of what he did. And so he's walking away and just knows that he's going to just have to go off by himself and die because there's nothing, that it's kind of like in the shame, he's been shamed. He didn't mean to do it, but he did because he was kind of mad. It was just kind of one of those stupid things. And so he's just realizing without any communication or talking, he just starts walking away from the group and just going and leaving. And so that makes the group very sad. We're all very sad because he's one of us. But we know this is the way it has to be. It has to be this way because you can't have
a live wire in your group.
Yeah, you can't have somebody who's going to be doing that and causing this problem that we didn't mean to have, or we did have to be put in that situation. So he's leaving. Yeah, very sad. And so we decided that kind of the least we could do is bury the bodies and then take over that land as take over that area. And I don't know that they lived exactly, the other guys lived exactly in that area, but in that area, kind of that area. I don't see any of the people or any kind of, village or anything there. So they decide that, almost like as an honor thing, they decide to set camp there. That's where they're going to come back to, because they want to honor those guys that they had to kill to be there. So they wanted to kind of honor the land. Yeah, exactly. So it wasn't just for nothing, and they should honor that space now and that land and take over for them, and honor it as best they can. So that's what they want to do.
Now, did those men that were killed, did they have women somewhere there that...
Yeah, that's what I don't see. I don't see a village there per se. I don't see anything. So I think they were also out, scouting too, so I can't say that there was... where they decided to end up, where that happened, there's no village or anything. It's just open space. So those guys were also there, but I think their village is not far away.
Okay.
It's not too far away from there, but again, far enough away that they wouldn't bother each other.
Okay.
Okay.
Very, very interesting. Let's find out what happens next.
Well, they decide, they mark the spot where they are, so, so they know where to come back to. So they figure out a way to just kind of like remember where that spot is and how they got there, by markings that they put there. And it's kind of a protected area. It's a nice area because you've got the water, but yet there's some greenery around, kind of like that kind of hides the area. So it's kind of a nice sheltered area. So they really feel like it's a good spot for everybody. So now their job is to come back to the village and get the village packed up and start bringing the women and the children and the elder, pack up everything that they have and just make the trek. That's their job, is to go back, get everything and bring it back so they can start again in that new place. So as they're coming back, they realize that they have to hunt also. So they're very sad. I feel very, very a sadness because they're not violent people and they didn't want that to happen. So they have a sadness in their heart. We have a sadness in our heart. But the idea that they have to hunt and bring back food kind of distracts them, from the sadness. I mean, that kind of like takes over. It's like, okay, now we've got a job to do. So as sad as we are, we've got to now get to work again. because it was a hardship. Everything was hard. Everything always had to be. It was always like we were thinking of the next step, the next thing that had to be done. You know, that's how that life was. You always had to think of, yeah, exactly, the next thing that's going to keep you alive. So that was the priority. So they decided that they were going to go ahead and do the hunting. So on the way back, they're coming back, they're making their way back, and they're doing their hunting, and I almost like a mountain lion or a cougar or something that we kill.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't know where it came from, and I don't know why, but that's kind of the impression I get, something like that they're going to take back.
Okay.
That we take back there to the village. And get back to the village, and the women are happy to see the men, but it's really sad. Okay, this is really sad, because the woman that I saw with the child, that was her husband that created the issue, and that he had to go. They had to explain somehow. Really interesting with that language. They had to explain somehow what happened and relay that to her as to why he wasn't back with them. Yeah, and it's very hard. It's hard for them to communicate. It's a very difficult thing to communicate that story of what happened without words, without language. But she understands. She understands the basic, that he's not there, that he is gone.
Oh.
And yeah, it's very, very sad. I feel I feel very guilty, because I was the one that said we should continue on when they looked at me for a vote, and I was the one that said that we should keep going rather than turn around and go somewhere else. I was thinking that they seemed friendly enough that we could keep going. So I feel very guilty. So I step up and say that I will take care of that family for him, that I will take care of the child and the woman, that would be my responsibility to take care of them now. Because it was kind of my fault that he voted with me. So, yeah, so I step up and say that will be my duty now. So I do that. In the meantime, we have to pack up the village and explain to the elder also. We're trying to explain to the elder what happened. And he was not happy with the situation. We were not. We came back kind of with good news and bad news type of thing, feeling like, well, we found a great place, but this is what we had to do to get it. And so we kind of thought that would be, the good news was kind of outweigh the bad, but in the elder's eyes, it didn't. It didn't. He felt it was bad.
Because he's wise.
Yes.
And the energy of that decision could affect the ability to live there peacefully.
Yes, yes. He just was not happy with the way that worked out, and was unhappy that one of his tribe members had to leave. The whole thing was just not. We just felt that we were being, chastised, and it was not a good thing. But anyway, that's just part of that. But we knew we had to go. We just knew we still had to pack up and go. So that's what we're doing. We're just packing up the village, packing up everything to go.
And what kinds of things are you packing? Do you have like handmade tools, or what sorts of things do you have?
Well, they're literally taking the tents down, the skins that are the homes, and kind of packing them away, packing them up. They're it's just animal skins that are held down by like these wooden stake type things, and so they're packing those up. They want to take their homes with them, so they're packing those up. That's important to take with. They have utensils and things that they eat with, like I see like wooden, like chalices type, like like bowls and things, and that they've carved, they've created their utensils and their eating things, so that they want to take all that with them.
Very interesting.
Yeah, and they have these sacks made out of animal skins, again, kind of like sacks, like what we would say maybe was a knapsack, but kind of like that, that they're packing things up in. And they have to carry everything. There's no animals or anything, so they're just carrying everything.
So everything is carried on their body, or is there some other way of like dragging things?
No, I see it just carrying. Everybody helps to carry. Yeah, there's no. I don't see anything that's. There actually there are like every person's in charge of their own home, their own tent, and again there isn't a lot, but maybe 6 of them, if that, and they wrap them up in a way of what I see is like, again, wrapping up, kind of like rolling them up in the skins and then placing that leather strap, like string, like around them to hold them and tie them up, and then they attach like a handle to them, with the leather, and then just kind of drag them, rather than have to carry them, they kind of just pull them behind.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, as they are, yeah. And then the other things they're putting into the sacks, the dishes and the utensils, and even some wood. I don't know why, but even like to start a fire, like packing up some wood that they had around to take with them. So that's it. So they're just packing up, and they're getting everything organized and going. And they're kind of like sad. They're all very sad because of what happened, but they know they still have to go and do this. So that's what they're doing.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Well, why don't we still continue to see what happens here? I feel like there may still be more.
Well, they're all just starting to walk. They're just walking down, and I'm kind of with the woman and the baby to just be with them to make sure that they're okay, because they don't have a man to protect them anymore. So I'm kind of with them. It's kind of almost became my instant family. So I'm with them, making sure that they're okay.
Aww.
And we're all going through, and now we're hitting that rock area that you have to climb over, and it's difficult, but getting through that. And
all the stuff.
Yeah, it's a difficult thing. It's not easy. It's a hardship to have to get everything moved, and they know that. And that's, again, why, there was that serenity the night before. They knew all this was going to happen, because it was the first time they do this. They have to do this fairly often, where they have to just, pick up and go. So they know what this consists of, and they know how hard it really is to do all this. So
yeah,
it's always kind of a cautious thing. But so now they're just getting to. So there's nothing eventful. I think we make it to the due place, and everybody's very happy with it. Everybody seems very content and ready to set up the new village. So they start doing that, and all of us men go over to where we buried the 5 other men, and so we kind of go over there and we do we have everybody join us, and we do a little ceremony in respect to them, and taking over their land, but in respect to them of kind of a ritual that we do for burial, and but we want the whole village to participate. So interesting that it's kind of like everybody has to participate in this for spirit purposes, like to allow the bad energy or the bad spirits of what happened to dissipate and start anew with good energy and good spirits. So we have to make amends to what we did to the men that we killed. We have to make amends to them and
sort of cleanse the land.
Yeah, kind of cleanse it out and do a healing, so to speak, of the land, and a healing of them, of their souls. And it's just something that we do, and so that had to be done. And also put in like a prayer for the man we lost of our own tribe. And so that's a ritual that just has to be done before we can actually set up the village. So that's being done. And the women have to participate, and everybody is involved in that, and doing their blessings and doing their prayers. And again, it's all nonverbal. the whole thing is just nonverbal, but everybody knows what to do and
Yeah.
how to do it. And then we start setting up the village. We start setting everything back up again. And it seems okay. It seems like it's going to be okay. I think, yeah, it seems like seems like it's a good spot. Everybody seems happy there. So yeah, life is just going to go on. Life is just going to go on in that new place.
Okay. All right. Well, is there anything else important before we leave this scene?
Okay. Well, one more thing that I saw was that eventually, in time, the tribe of those 5 men that died, they joined. They were not far away.
Okay.
And we found them. I don't know, doing the scouting stuff, we actually found them, and I don't know if we were looking for them in particular or just found them, but it was the women and the children of that tribe, because the 5 men, it wasn't big at all, there was only the 5 men, but we brought them with us. We brought them into our tribe for honoring the men, and they understood. Again, they understood, and so they came to the area, and we're actually very grateful for that to happen, because they were suffering and barely surviving on their own.
Yeah.
And they were very grateful for so there was a bittersweet type thing of like, they knew what had happened, but they knew survival was also important, and they saw that the sincerity of the heart of us to be able to do this, and so everybody understood, survival is first, so everybody understood what had to be done, and it took them into, so it became a bigger tribe, and a very loving tribe. Everybody really got along and loved each other and understood the situation, and the women of that other tribe were actually very glad to find out what happened, because their men just left and they didn't know. They never knew what happened. So they were very grateful at least to be near the graves of their men, and very grateful that they actually had a closure and knew what happened to them. So they were grateful. In some ways they were not, upset with what happened, but understood. I'm looking at that time and saying, you just accepted some things that were just the way it was, and it was
Didn't
easier
have
to
much of a choice.
Right, you just accepted and did the best you could to survive, and that was so the bottom line of that is, I think everybody just lived together very happily in a bigger tribe, and the men that were left, our men took care of the women and the children from that other tribe, and everybody just it's like a commune. Everybody just got along, and everybody helped each other wherever they could.
Yeah, very interesting. I was wondering about the women, so
yeah.
Interesting that came up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, all right. Well, why don't we leave this scene and drift and float to another important day in this life, the day when something important is happening, and now you are there.
Well, it's much later, and I feel that we've just stayed there. That actually it turned out to be a really good place, and we just ended up staying there and having more children, and it just became a much bigger village. It just became, we filled the space. We filled the space up pretty good. It was rather a large village at that point. It just kept growing. And it was very peaceful, very, very loving, peaceful, good people.
Oh.
Yeah, very good people. And I feel that, I'm just a lot older now, and interesting. Okay, so the elder passed, and I became the elder.
Mm.
They looked to me for that. I don't know why, but so I became the new elder, and I was older, and so I oversaw the village and just made sure that everybody had what they needed, and overseer. It was like an overseer, but very peaceful. So that's it. I just feel like I became the elder, and it was a very peaceful time. Those years were very peaceful. The rest of those years, we're not bothered by anybody.
That's very good news.
Yeah. It was a safe place, a good safe place, and we made sure we always honored those men. But their gravesite was very near. But we always honored those men during the whole time, because we knew. It's almost like if that didn't happen, if we didn't confront those men at that place, we don't know that we would have stayed there.
Yeah.
We don't know that we would have found that we would have continued on, maybe, because it was their area. So as sad as it was that we had to kill them in that situation and then took over the land, it still was a really good thing, because we brought the rest of their tribe over, and we were all safe. We were all safe for all those years. Whereas before that happened, we might have continued on and not found such a safe spot for everybody. So in the long run, it just seemed like it ended up to be the way it should.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like they'd made a big sacrifice that was for the greater good.
Yes, yeah.
Very interesting. Anything else in this day that's important? Or in this time?
No. It just seems peaceful and quiet, and just, everything's status quo. The men do go out and hunt, but everything's fine with that. They come back. There's no real issues, and no, the women take care of the children and the cooking.
Very interesting.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. Well, why don't you leave this scene and drift and float to another important day in this life, a day when something important is happening, and now you are there.
Okay, well, I feel like my time has come, and I'm dying. It's time for me to go. And the boy was now a man that I was now grown, the one that I adopted, so to speak, from the man that left.
Mm-hmm.
He is now taking my place as an elder. So before I pass, I'm giving that honor to him. And again, it's if we're back to the vote, but it's a vote. Everybody has to vote on everything. So we put it up to the vote of, should he be the next elder, and it was unanimous. Everybody agreed that should happen. So he then becomes the next elder. But when I pass, that would be what happens. So I do spend a little time, even though I know I'm going, I'm dying. I spend some time with him, just explaining to him more of the heart of everything. He knows how to take care of everything. Physically, he knows his job. He knows what the job consists of. But I think it's important for me to tell him the heart of everything, and tell him. I mean, the word "tell" is interesting, but to give him that,
to communicate to him.
To give him that information somehow, that it's a heartfelt thing, and to always do things from the heart. Even going back to that time where his father had to leave the village to walk away basically to his death. I mean, that had to be explained to him. That had to be understood, that all came from the heart of everybody. That his father left willingly because it was a heartfelt thing. So that was very important. For me, I feel it was very important for me to pass that on to him. That's the way that this tribe had to continue on. That it was always, a vote. It was always what the majority wanted, and it was always had to be from the heart. So that was important for me to, before I died, to go ahead and give them that information.
Yeah. Very, very cool. And as far as, like, are you having a peaceful death? Are you feeling very sick? What is the condition? What is your condition like?
I think I'm just old. I think I'm just old and done, done. I think I had to just make sure that everything was in its place before I felt comfortable enough to leave, but I think that's all been done. It was important for me to talk to the son and have him take over. So all that being done, I felt like it was time. I just felt like it was time to go. Just old and probably sick of some sort, but don't know what. Just feeling, just feeling tired and ready. Just I'm done with this. I'm ready to go.
Yeah. Okay. Well, whatever has happened has already happened, and you are on the other side of it. And from that position, you can look at the entire life and see it from a different perspective. What do you think was the purpose of that lifetime?
Well, I think one of the big things I'm seeing is that communication doesn't always have to be verbal. That a lot of communication could be done non-verbally, and everything is still very understood. We have come to the point that we think that communication is only through speaking, and what I'm getting is that we're coming to a time when that won't be necessary again. It's like back in the so-called caveman days, people got along quite well without verbal, speaking in their own communication ways, and then we suddenly came to the point that everything was talking. Everything was a talking point. Everything had to be said and talked about, and that they're saying that could actually get you in more trouble than the non-communication. So sometimes non-communication is sometimes just the better path, the smarter path and the clearer path even. And they're showing me that we're coming to that point again, where we'll be to the point that we can just have a clearer definition of things by nonverbal communication.
Yes. Well, 90% of our communication is nonverbal.
Yes, and the words get in the way sometimes. The words just would, and showing me that in that lifetime that words would have gotten in the way a lot of times. Like they're showing me explaining to the woman, and the woman that, to her, if words would have been used to explain to her, it could have been misunderstood. But again, the whole thing is it came from the heart. Everything they did had to come from the heart, and so they felt from the heart rather than from the words, which was important to learn. But besides that, I think the honor. They're bringing up the voting thing. That was important to see that everybody's equal. Everybody has a say. There's an elder, but that doesn't mean he makes the decisions. Everybody has their own say. So when everybody has their own say, and it's an evenly divided. Everybody has their part, and it doesn't make them feel like anybody is better than anybody else.
Yes.
Because everybody has their say, and they feel that they've had their chance to give their vote, so to speak. And so that was important back then. That was very important to see how that works out, and it works out so well that no matter what happened, it was always came down to majority, the vote. Interesting as of today's situation, but everybody has their say in it, and once they have their say, everybody agreed to it, whether they disagreed or not. And that one guy who was disgruntled because he didn't have it his way, it showed what happened.
Yes.
It showed how that created such a problem because he did not, this is so interesting, he did not go with the plan.
Yeah.
You know, and the plan was always you go with the vote. And if it doesn't go your way, it will go your way next time. But go with that plan, you know, that everybody voted for because the majority
Well,
rule.
that cooperation was probably essential to your survival.
Exactly.
So all those kinds of contentions would put you guys at jeopardy.
Right. And that's
Yeah.
exactly what happened. And by him not going with the flow, so to speak, he created a huge situation and put everybody in danger. And then
his
realized,
own little family too.
Yes, right, and realized, you know, realized what that created and what that caused and how he had to leave because of that. So, so the vote was very important, allowing everybody to have their say and allowed it to be an equal society, so to speak. And also stepping up, stepping up to do what you need to do, to be the person you need to be. They show me the importance of me in that lifetime stepping up and claiming responsibility for making that decision and having them vote my way and then taking on the mother and the baby, the wife of that man, and knowing that was my responsibility now to protect them. So kind of just stepping up to what you need to do.
What is right.
Yeah, doing the right thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's a very cool life.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool life. Very interesting.
Hmm.
Are you ready to receive healing?
Yes.
Okay. I would like you to go up, up, up until you reach a place of healing in the higher dimensions. Just let me know when you're there.
Okay, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tell me about it. Where are you?
I really feel I'm in darkness. I'm just floating. Right now I'm just kind of floating way out in space somewhere. Not anywhere in particular.
Okay. All right. Well, I would like for you to imagine some sort of beautiful healing substance. It could be Mother Nature's golden light. It could be healing water. It could be whatever feels right for you. And I want you to imagine it penetrating every cell of your body, every fiber of your being and your spirit. And I just want you to imagine that just healing all of the pain and the suffering from that life and any other lives that may need healing, while leaving the wisdom and the knowledge gained from that life intact. Just let me know when you feel done.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay. Did you feel like you were able to get it all?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. Is there anybody approaching you?
Yes. I'm just not. I'm not recognizing. It's almost like a. I want to say it looks like Jesus, but I'm not a religious person, so I'm looking at it like Jesus, the man, basically, not the godlike, but the
ascended master.
yeah, kind of now. Also, I know Saint Germain is a guide of mine. So I mean, I don't know if it's him or because I don't know. I'm not sure, but I just see somebody approaching that kind of looks that look. You know, the robe, like a long robe
Yeah.
type look.
You can ask them
Yeah.
who they are.
Okay, well, I am getting that it's Saint Germain that's coming to talk. Okay.
All right. Well, why don't you take a minute and just see what happens here in this healing place with one of your guides.
Well, he's interestingly saying that, you know, that we do have a connection from prior lives or life, and that we know each other. We know each other's souls. And he has chosen, is one of my guides, and he wants to thank me for acknowledging him in my as part of my routine, so to speak, of talking to my guides, and that he is saying that he is one of the voices I hear. He is one of the someone I get most of my information from.
Wow.
That you know, when I'm doing my work or speaking, that he wants me to know that he's giving me that information and helping me.
That's very cool.
Yeah. And he's also, funny enough, he had something in his hand. I was trying to ask what it was, and he's handing it to me, and he's saying, it's that key.
I was gonna ask about the key in a second.
Yeah, he's handing me the key and saying, this is the key. So I'm asking, to what? What is the key to? Well, now this is interesting. He's saying it's this is weird. He's saying it's the key to everything, but it's not yet for me to know what that exactly entails.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So more will be revealed as...
Yeah, I think so. I think it's not yet for me to know exactly. He says, but just know that this key is the key to all. And more will be revealed when the time is necessary.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
What other information does he have for you? Anything else?
He's just saying that keep up the good work. That he said he's saying all light workers are doing an amazing job. He's saying we know how difficult it is. But he and they, he's saying they want everybody to know how they honor us and watch over us and help us any way they can, especially in our work, because it's very important, and it's going to be even more so as time goes on, and they just want us to be aware that they are aware, so to speak, that they are aware of what we do and are helping us whenever they can, as they can, and to know that. They said it's important to know that. And he said for all light workers, we speak for all light workers. All of us who are watching over the light workers, this is a message to all. He's kind of just making this an all-purpose message, and saying it's just to give you hope and to let you know that this is not in vain. This is not for naught. He's saying it's for an important cause, and he's saying you'll all have the key soon enough.
Oh.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, thank you for that, loving guide. All right. Is there any of your other guides or angels that would like to present themselves to you at this time? Impart wisdom or blessings or healing?
Well, it's funny because I always, the names that were given to me and my angels are Rebecca and Majesty, which is kind of funny, I know, but they're just kind of flitting around. I just see them kind of flitting around, like laughing and just saying, we're just buzzing by to say hey, just hi, and just they're kind of just like flitting around, little gold lights flitting around, just showing themselves to me. So that's kind of cool. I think that's it for now.
Okay. All right. Do I have permission to speak and ask questions?
Yes.
Okay. I know that the subconscious could have brought forth many different lifetimes for Dianne to see today. You chose to bring forward this lifetime for her to see. Why did you choose this one?
Well, like I said before, just some of those key points that were meant for her to see, as far as the communication and understanding community, understanding the value of it, understanding the value of a fair society, and how it can really work. I think it was a life of hardship, but yet integrity. And again, showing that you can be absolutely what might be considered Stone Age, so to speak, what might be considered unintelligent, or was really not that at all. Just because, again, there was nonverbal communication, it was not a form of intelligence on any level. It was a very intelligent community. They're kind of saying it's just like words don't equal intelligence, and it's a good thing to remember that's not. Somebody can have wonderful vocabulary, but have no heart.
Yes, yes.
So they just kind of wanted to show me that, I guess, to remember that. Remember that everything comes from the heart. That this is coming up as one of the main reasons into trying to think see if there's anybody. I'm trying to think about fitting into this life. Who might have been in that life. I'm really not getting that right now, but I probably will later. So I'll have to look into that. I was looking into that of who might be important, a key, between Interesting use of words, the key, but between that life and this life.
Yeah.
But for now, I think they just want to show me that, and perseverance, and not to give up, and to understand that everything has value and meaning, and every person and being has value and meaning. And again, it goes back to that vote. I don't know why, but that was very important to show me the vote, the fairness of getting everybody's opinion and everybody's insight, because everybody has different reasons for why they see it the way they see it, whatever the situation is. And so it's important to value that in every person, because they have their own interpretation and their own reasons. So it's important to value that.
Yeah, very, very good. Very cool.